Helping Hands. Game is going to start in just a few seconds.
All right. Assembled and ready.
Here we go. Hello everybody, welcome to our third game in this best of 5 series. Right now, playing on Faymanville Approach, our map for the third game on the south side. This time as the OKW, 2 games in hand, it is going to be Helping Hands. And in the north, playing as the USF this time round. His last game was actually very, very good, 56-minute game. And just lost it at the last moment. This time, it's going to be Barton. This time, of course, Barton is going to need to take a win here. If he doesn't, then of course this series is over. Helping Hands will be the victor. So it's a big game for Helping Hands here. Big game for Barton. First game in this series was a really well played austere Ostrican strategy by Helping Hands. In the second game, Barton and Hands pretty much equaled each other. And Longest Kaya, so that was a long game, nearly tipped the hour mark. But, Hands, of course, has been victorious in both. And Hands has had really good staying power in this series so far. The other thing I've noticed from Hands today is that he's been making some incredibly astute strategic decisions. He's really got his eye on unit positions. He's got his eye on teching very well. His build order has countered Barton's pretty much every step of every game. So his kind of foresight into what Barton's doing is has been very honed, we should say. After that early engagement, Helping Hands actually left with very little territory at the start of the game. Already having to reinforce. And he really wants to be bringing out those units early on. Don't like to see that manpower drain at the start. Barton, of course, as he has done with every single game so far, he's picked a commander early. This time it's going to be Heavy Cavalry Company.
Grenadier are on the line.
And it's interesting. I mean, I'm always debating with whoever I'm usually co-casting with whether, going in with the commander selection is a good idea. It's good if there's something really early on that is going to help you get a great early game, no doubt. Especially with current balance, where the factions kind of allow you to play without a commander and still be effective. That is a good thing. Of course, being able to counterpick for something later on in the game, when someone's already built an army and your commander counters it, is very, very effective. So, assuming that Barton isn't found out, perhaps he can capitalize on it. Otherwise, then really limiting himself unless he's really using something in the early game. This time, of course, it's Riflemen being able to build mines and sandbags, which I would argue is very beneficial in the early game. Haha, there we go. Early mine from Helping Hands. Very, very lucky to get away with that one model.
A lieutenant has been assigned to field ops.
Welcome to the Death Factory, boys. Stick with me.
Lieutenant was what Helping Hands used in the last game against Barton to get a really good early foothold on the map.
We're losing a capture point.
There's also exceptionally good AT, mobile AT on Longest Kaya, and 2 bazookas in the last game. This time, Lieutenant, I think he's just going to provide that extra squad to help with the capping. It's definitely going to be the squad for the USF in the early game that is going to run up and deal with the Volksgrenadiers in cover positions. Helping Hands here, you're going to see the Stern Pioneers try to get on the retreat path of these echelons. If a model goes down here, it's actually a serious problem on the retreat. That's a good retreat by Barton. Probably still at the last second, but it's a bit of a duck hunt as he runs past 2 Volksgrenadier squads, and there is already the first squad wipe of the game.
Wiped out. A capture point is
And
under
the
attack.
movement from Hans is probably the most threatening thing. Hans has this great ability to bring multiple squads onto the retreat path the second that you move across that front line.
The enemy is overrunning one of our capture points.
Area secured. Look over here.
This engagement confuses
Line
me.
just got cut off.
Both factions fighting from the opposite sides to their bases. Barton's about to make a helping hand sandwich.
Promotion. Objective secured.
And this was Barton, I think, trying to deny territory. I just want to point out to everybody, he doesn't deny territory when the VP is capped. So this entire endeavor by Barton is totally pointless.
Over here.
As is staying here. It's just wasting some Volksgrenadier time and losing some models on the retreat. Interesting. Of course, you see once again Helping Hands straight into position. The M20 is on the field. And interesting to note, we do already have a SWS up from Hands, so I'm going to see that Faust popping any moment.
Objective secured. Mine cut off.
Now, if the M20 can be well used by Barton here, it will be a really good tool at dealing manpower loss to Helping Hands by taking down models. Of course, being a vehicle, it's not going to lose any manpower on its own. Helping Hands straight in with the Raketten. And Hands making use of the time he has on the field alone with the Stern Pioneers to wire off any green cover positions. Barton just seeing that good reaction by Hands as well. Of course, building the barbed wire means you take more damage whilst you're building it. Nice cut off from the M20. And this is the power of the M20 in the early game. Really, really important. Keep that unit mobile. Keep that unit working its way across the map. More mines on the western fuel. Helping Hands has been a busy boy in the early game. Already getting into the Lukes, by the way. Hands with his big strategic point advantage. Of course, strategic points still bring in a fair amount of fuel, +3 fuel. So obviously with all the strategic points Hands has got, even on the other side of the map, that's allowed him to get to the Lukes very quickly. And I don't think we've seen Barton lay any mines with the M20. Nope. There is literally nothing that is going to stop this Lukes. We haven't even got the Lieutenant upgraded, and Barton is pretty much, I think, just carrying the munitions for that.
Capture complete.
There's the Lukes. Of course, once that Lukes arrives, we've still got that entire time Barton has to get into friendly territory and then upgrade the weapon. All while Helping Hands, you see presence on 2 fuel points at the moment. Barton is building the Stuart light tank. Hands has his minesweepers on the right hand side. I think Hands also suspects there could be an M20 mine somewhere on the map. Of course, doesn't really want to be using the Lukes like this until he's scouted for it. But he does know that the Lieutenant doesn't have the bazooka, so... Barton bringing that Stuart to the right hand side. Assumed to try and just fend off the Lukes whilst he caps the map. Barton has to get this this decap right here. He knows he's got to go for the VP first, then this strategic point to cut the left hand side off. Looks like Barton's Stuart is just going to help keep the fuel for a bit. This is dangerous. Volks Grenadiers can Faust. Hans does have the munitions.
God damn it! Someone get us out of here!
Okay, there we go. We just see bazookas popped on the lieutenant there. Echelons coming in.
Rear echelon squad ready for action.
Be like the upgrade.
Promotion just came through!
Proceed for move. Get eyes on target. Krauts are taking one of our points.
Well, credit to Barton. I think he's actually done very well to regain some stable territory. He's got a lot of ground to make up. He's given OKW a pretty sizable resource lead, and that's going to manifest itself in the form of a Puma and a Lux, which is a really big investment in Mechanized in the early game. If Barton can deal with this, he may actually find himself in the advantage afterwards. But Puma and Lux going to be very tough, especially without that M20 mine planted anywhere on the map whilst he had the chance.
Reinforcements in. Welcome to the death factory.
Still no commander pick from Helping Hands. Elite Armored, Grand Offensive, and Luftwaffe.
Puma, ready. Send orders!
Barton really does not have control of that fuel. I mean, Hans is going to know that Barton's moving his way over there. That's an obvious thing. Hans with the Puma, and he's looking aggressive as well. I think Hans... Oh! Oh, what happened there? Do you know what? I think actually during a critical, the Stern Pioneers managed to eliminate the crew. That was incredible. Actually, Barton's very lucky that that is still available to reinforce. Ah, sorry, Riketten would have been the one actually to take it down there. Luke's going to try and finish that off. Here's the snare coming in from the rifleman. This is very, very bad by Hans, actually, I think, because there was no way the Lux was going to penetrate that. Really, we have to see suppression from the MG34 here. It does go off. The lieutenant misses the shot, and that's what's going to allow Helping Hands to keep that Lux alive. Pretty tense. This is a really bad start to the game for Barton. Helping Hands already 2 games up. Negative cover here. Barton not even really targeting that retreating Volksgrenadier squad. I think he's perhaps going for another anti-tank grenade. But install the repair time has to cancel due to the threat of the Volksgrenadiers. But this is really bad. Double fuel for Helping Hands at the moment. And he's already getting his 3rd SWS out. That's going to be a Panzerschwer, I'm sure. Because it is already seemingly going over to the right-hand side of the map. It's likely that Hans is going to be using the Stern Pioneers for medical supply drops in place of healing, so that he can do this quick tacking. Let's see if that's what Hans does. Yes, it is. Good old Hans. Reliable. Barton is going to have to rebuild the Stuart, and that is really such a punishment. Having to rebuild that Stuart when it is going to be severely on the back foot. Hans just waiting. Oh, well, it's a great flank there. Manages to push the Volksgrenadiers away, and now it's the rifleman's job to try to take over the fuel. Hans just in such a good position. He's just free to roam really and defend these positions. There's no contest from Barton anywhere else on the map. That probably didn't need to be a retreat there from the rifleman. I think that was a bit of a misjudgment.
Is under attack. Weapon rack is now open.
Keep shooting.
We just heard weapon rack pop from Barton. Panzerschwere headquarters going for Hans on the right side. It's going to cover the fuel on the right, so Barton's going to be forced to go for this left side unless he can come up with something really creative quickly. And here we see the riflemen. They've actually just spotted that the Panzerschwere is there, so I think the Stuart might want to try and get in as well. Can magic happen? Taking the Panzerschwere headquarters down here in this position would actually be very, very beneficial. He's got to be careful though that he doesn't overextend. Bazookas on the echelons now, forcing the Lukes away. There is a 50 cal there, which could help, really help push the Volksgrenadiers back. It doesn't happen. Hans is immediately going for the upgrade. Really wants to lock down that territory. See here, just it's such great utilization of the mechanized regiment. Really, Hans has already gone for the repair pioneers, and when the stern pioneers do reach veteran C3, they will get faster repair as well. So these light vehicles are going to be on and off the field so fast. The repair rate is already incredible. I think what we see Hans doing here is really going to be the nail in the coffin. Obersoldaten, as long-range anti-infantry go, are probably the best. Probably the best, maybe airborne, because they can get the double LMGs actually and reinforce on the field. Maybe airborne's the best, but Obersoldaten really do pack a punch. And that's going to make the engagements really hard. I'm not going to be losing Obersoldaten to the M20 here. They're high reinforcement cost. Volksgrenadiers constantly pushing that front line. And this is exactly the right kind of playstyle from Helping Hands. You need to be just constantly making the front line further and further up. You've got such a good advantage with the light vehicles. I don't know how much longer Barton can stay in this, really. The only saving factor he has is that there's a VP that hasn't been captured by Helping Hands in the east. Let's see if Barton can make anything happen here. He's just managed to push Hands back to the base. That's going to give him an opportunity to reclaim some territory. I think actually there is a way back into this for Barton. Hans is invested. You see him going for the Panzer IV right now. Luke's Puma, Panzer IV, Hans on 25 fuel at the moment. And Barton is actually going to be able to capture a lot of the map back here. He still has tools available. So, you know, actually if he can focus on infantry and wait for the Pershing, I think actually he's got a really good chance. Minesweepers, of course, on the echelons here. They did see the Stern Pioneers planting this. So, good to see Barton being observant. Panzer IV for Helping Hands. LMG has just been upgraded on the Obersoldaten. Now this is where the difficult part comes in for Barton. The decision to go for the Panzer IV here is very good from Hands, because there's a severe lack of AT on the field, only in the form of the Lieutenant and rear echelon bazookas. I don't really going to count the Stuart because very little chance of that penetrating. Very, very ineffective at this stage. Oh! That was very quick from Barton. I think he kind of realized there that... Else is going to go down. Good reactions.
Battle damage estimates show the enemy at 300 points.
Here's the captain. Barton, I think, at this stage is going to have real issues. He doesn't have any upgrades, but you just look at Helping Hands. Actually, all 3 Volksgrenadiers upgraded, LMGs on the Obersoldaten. And that's going to make really, really hard work. The Ketten and the Panzer IV here on the Stuart. Both shots, I think, hit there, but left a little bit of health. The Lieutenant's just trying to pick off as much as it can. Few things capable of penetrating the armor of that Panzer IV. Are we going to see the snares coming out?
Alert! Enemy infantry! Engine damage!
Here's the mine. Barton's going to go for the mine here. This is important. That mine could be a game changer. Hans has invested heavily in light to medium vehicles. So when a Pershing does come out, assuming Barton can really get to that stage, there will be issues to deal with. Hans, of course, has also got to save some pop cap. Get that late game unit out. Oh, we just missed it. That was the Lukes going down, and that was the mine from the M20 that Barton lay. And that was beautiful. Obersoldaten nearly going down there to the captain and rifleman. And Barton is showing some colour in his face. He's been knocked back, but he's still playing with some resilience. He's capturing the VPs. That's one thing he needs to do, is buy himself as much time as possible.
Enemy anti-tank! Find cover!
Hans finally choosing his doctrine, grand offensive, late game Tiger tank. Can pop SDG 44s if he goes more Obersoldaten, which he is. I actually think, though, that double Obersoldaten against a potential Pershing. I hope he's banking his manpower for some serious reinforcement. I think that Barton there would just have spotted the second Obersoldaten squad. I have to say, I think this is a great commander. The Grand Offensive, huge addition to OKW. Amazing to have that smoke cover. Amazing to have the SDGs, Panzer Fusiliers. It is as it says on the tin. Major. Well, that's interesting. That is very interesting. Major to me suggests that Barton may use some of his fuel to go for a Scott. Perhaps worrying about the threat of the Obersoldaten. he chooses the M8A1, he's going to really suffer when Hans brings out that Tiger. Perhaps Barton also thinks, hey, you know, it's maybe time for a Jackson. That's going to come quicker. But unfortunately, neither of them are going to come quick enough. Hans is banking the resources for a Tiger to hit the field. Barton has 1 AT gun, and I think a collective total of 3 bazookas. 3 bazookas, yep. Ah, General, thank you very much for letting me know. It's I haven't cast in the new patch yet. You need the Major for the Pershing. I apologize and I rescind and take back my commentary. What is HelpingHans doing here? I have no idea. Just lost an entire squad of Obersoldaten for nothing. That was the fresh squad that came out there with the SDGs freshly upgraded. Hans perhaps showing some signs of weakness. Here it is though, the beastly Tiger tank. The one thing Barton was fearing. Oh, that was a really quick cap before that unit got destroyed by the Puma. An absolutely essential cap as we see the Tiger just rolling casually up to the base. Barton's picked out another AT gun. The ambulance goes down. Where was the attention here? We really need to see a snare on this Tiger right now. AT guns really, I don't think can get back to base quick enough. Some good hits, some good penetrating hits there from the AT gun. Nearly takes that Panzer IV down. Hans is going to have to get the hell out of there. That was so close to dying. Barton going to feel a little bit cheated. Still do want to commend Barton. He is absolutely staying in this game for the moment. He's managing to grasp onto some VPs when the opportunity arises. Coincidentally, one of the best games I think has ever been cast of Barton was on Faymanville Approach against Jeslin back during ESL. So we know that Barton knows this landscape well. This is nice from Barton. He's using smoke to get on the VP, avoiding that MG34.
The enemy now have 200 points.
One thing I will say is actually the Tiger is it's slow. It's going to feed veterancy to the AT guns. That's a really important suppression. Does not want to lose the AT gun with the veterancy. But yeah, the Tiger being very slow, actually, this is going to be great for a Pershing. Great for a Jackson even, if Barton felt that was the necessary tool. There's the snare. What do we have to defend it? Tiger's being repaired at the moment. Hans finds his Panzer IV. In a troublesome situation, the AT gun is there. Hans is going to pop the smoke, and a plane crashes to provide some fire sight blocker. Hans is going to retaliate here. Some light artillery of his own. Interestingly, Barton was not able to capitalize on that opportunity. That's twice the Panzer IV has escaped with relatively little left. This is amazing, really. We're ready for the Tiger to pop into this scene. Oh, that squad just went down on a retreat. That was a rifleman squad. That's unfortunate.
We're losing a capture point.
Well, Barton, 2 VPs, he's got his fuel. And he's on the slow climb to either a Jackson or a Pershing. I can't really say, I mean, Hans has had a very good game here, but I can't really say he's capitalized on the huge advantage that he had. Actually, Barton's played out of his skin just to get to the position that he's in right now. Got 200 VPs left. He's got to take down 435 from Hans. And we're 30 minutes into the game. Game 2 is 56 minutes. Game 3 has the potential to go further. This is nice. Actually, you see the Stuart here is just positioning itself so it can stay in the engagements. The AT gun will pick off the Puma either side that it comes around. Bad situation for the Stuart. Stuart's going to go down to some M20 blocking.
Vehicle just got destroyed.
Kind of sad to see the Stuart go. The Stuart has so many cool abilities that make it awesome in the late game. It's really a tool that can,
Just got a report of an infantry unit being wiped out.
you know, allow the Pershing, allow Jacksons, allow AT guns to just wipe tanks off the map.
Under your orders.
So sad to see Barton lose units like that, isn't it? This is a bad situation for the MG. Going to get wiped immediately by the Obersoldat, and I'm pretty sure Hans will capture that MG. That's what he normally does. Well, that's an important steal for Hans. 20, got to be careful there. Puma comes in to try and support the Raketten. There's returning shots on that Puma from the bazookas. Tactical blob failed here for Barton.
Boys, you ready to roll out?
We're seeing smoke come down in the center again. Barton's way of getting his units out of suppression whilst the MG is there. Another MG being built. Hans pop capped at the moment, so remember, Hans is really stuck with the build that he's got right now. Barton only at 59, close to the Pershing. Surely you're going to get in that building, surely. Tiger and Puma deep in the south at the moment. 80 guns completely out of position for this, and HelpingHans is going to drop smoke over them as well to mask the advance of the Tiger as it comes up to assist in the middle. Panzer IV really unchallenged on this side. This is risky. It could be a tank flank here. Barton's got to get those 80 guns out of there. One stalled by losing one of the moving model members. And losing these, I think, unless we're going to see that Pershing come out any second. I think Barton hasn't got a leg to stand on. Well, here it is. Pershing, you have a lot riding on you, my friend. You have a lot riding on you. Barton, of course, capping the VP on the eastern side of the map. 151 VPs. That brings him with 2 VPs. Gonna, again, just give him a little bit more time. I like this combination. M20 for a bit of sight to help the Pershing. And just look at the sight from that Vet 3 M20. This is probably the most important unit to assist the Pershing right now. Barton has to be so careful with this M20. If there's one thing that is going to enhance the effectiveness of the Pershing, it is that M20.
Back to full numbers. That's a heavy machine gun. Live fire! Keep shooting. Take it. Turn it down. They're coming up on the flank.
Really senseless blobbing here for the Panzer IV to deal with. Surprised he hasn't gone in for the crush, the lieutenant. And this long stick wants to try and fend it off.
Crafts are sniffing around our asses. Tactical point being captured.
Sorry, what is going on here?
The capture point is
No,
being
Barton.
overrun. That's auto-cannon fire. Field promotion.
Oh, this isn't good.
Sidelines cut.
This is not good.
Germans are making a push.
Oh no.
Gun. Taking fire.
Here comes Blitzkrieg. It's going to be the final kill. Barton doesn't even let it happen. It is a 3-0 stomp by Helping Hands in this series. GG.